Question for you, Secretary. You stated earlier that the regime, Iranian regime, continues to fund terrorism and bad behavior. And at the same time, we're concerned that, as at least those of us have commented on the fact that we're concerned that the more money the Iranian regime has, the more they will fund terrorist activity. In spite of the fact that they have a crumbling economy, they have infrastructure needs, they have needs to repair their ability to sell more oil, yet in spite of all of that, they're still funding terrorism. And so it seems like to me that you would agree with National Security Advisor Susan Rice when she said that we should expect that some portion of the money from the sanctions relief will go to the Iranian military and could potentially be used, as you said, will be used, to fund more bad behavior and terrorist behavior in the region in spite of the state of their economy.
Thank you, Senator. I do agree with the premises of your question. I agree with the statement that you quote from former National Security Advisor Rice. We've seen Iran fund terrorism before the sanctions, through the period, the toughest period of the sanctions. We saw them fund these groups during the Iran-Iraq war when their economy was a shambles. Yes. And I expect we'll continue to see that. The question is, what do we do about it? And it's my office's responsibility, along with our colleagues in the interagency and the intelligence community, to ramp up our efforts to be able to go after those funding streams. So the alternative, though, that I think is put out there doesn't make sense to me strategically, which is that we don't enter into a nuclear agreement, we don't give them back their money. In other words, we don't do this exchange of securing a nuclear commitment in exchange for sanctions relief, and then what? So we'll continue to combat Iran's support for terrorism as we've been doing, but we will have the prospect of Iran 2 to 3 months away from breakout. To me, when you're talking about a state sponsor of terrorism, that is a terrifying prospect. And so we've decided we need to address the nuclear threat and then turn to the terrorism. And I think that's the strategic way to do this.
So strategically speaking, according to the agreement, 5 years from the start of the agreement, they'll have more access to weapons. 8 years, they'll have access to ballistic missiles, and they'll be able to move forward in advanced research on nuclear technology. And then we know for certain at the end of the 10th year, we're looking at a breakout phase. So the reality of the agreement, is that we will, with certainty, be able to mark on a calendar when the Iranians will have an opportunity for a nuclear weapon.